I am Shane Yarbrough, born and raised in Dallas area. Really grew up in Carrollton, um, and seventh generation Texan. So my great grandfather, way back, he fought in Texas independence. He died in Austin in 1837.
Hmm.
And the Yarbrough family was deeded 1,280 acres up in Cook County for his service to the Republic of Texas.
Get out.
Fantastic. So I'm a Texan through and through.
Or-
Although my assistant would say that I'm not because I don't own a cowboy hat. Whatever.
Me either.
Uh,
Me either.
I'm a Texan through and through, and that's one of the things that I do think sets me apart from other agents is the fact that I know North Texas better than almost anybody you'll meet.
Yeah.
So, and just, from all areas. And so, um, that's kind of a little bit of my background. I mean, there's a ton, but from a real estate perspective, the Yarbrough family was embedded into real estate early on. So,
Indeed. Indeed. Now, because you're a Texan, um, you know, through and through, are you a Cowboy fan? Because I was at the game last night. I'm just asking. I'm like, really?
So I will say this. I used to be a huge Cowboy fan growing up as a kid,
Hmm.
went to games all the time. So I grew up at Texas Stadium and I've only been to the new stadium a handful of times. Once I got my first Dallas Cowboys client, it ruined the team for me,
Hmm.
just to be honest. And it kind of ruined football too. Like I so enjoyed watching him play that now I'm like, I kind of don't have any skin in the game anymore. And so until I get like an active, player client, I'm a little disconnected from the games and things like that. So, but I'm still a Cowboys fan. I mean,
Yeah.
we do a Cowboys contest on our Facebook page every week. And so,
Mhm.
I would say that I'm a fan. I never bet against him, even though I
Yeah.
should.
All right. Well, I tell folks I'm a supporter now because what I have found in all my years here, especially working in real estate, when the Cowboys are doing well, it's great for the local economy and business. That's the main reason why, Lonnie, as you shake your head, I'm just telling you, it's great for business.
Yeah.
Now, when we're mediocre or we kind of suck like we are now, we're still the talk of national football. It is what it is. But I went last night with Troy and it was frustrating, sure, but it is what it is. You know
But
what? The
Jerry doesn't care if they win or lose. Jerry
no,
only cares if they're being talked about.
indeed, and they're always being talked about. So
Absolutely.
I
He'll keep that going forever.
indeed, indeed. Well, I love the fact that again you're talked about in the real estate industry, and that's why I was excited to one have you on because I tell folks I'm so fortunate to be able to have these conversations with like-minded professionals from all over the world, which is fantastic. Sometimes it gives me just a small insight as to what they're doing to succeed at a high level. And so I would say that for me, that's what I want this conversation to be about. And
Hmm.
regardless of where you're at in your current business, I know that everyone on here is way ahead of the industry average, way ahead. And so, Freddie, yeah, bring Freddie up, right? So, hey, Freddie. So, and now here's a really strange twist. If Freddie Shane, if Freddie was to speak to us, besides the bark, what would Freddie want to share with us today?
So that is the first time ever he has barked in this office.
Oh
Well,
wow.
no, he barked it like 5 minutes ago, but today
Yeah.
is the first day he's ever made noise.
Okay.
Um, he, although he self-labeled himself as the property expert,
Okay.
he doesn't know anything about real estate. I mean, he's got his house down there and he's not even in it. So, um, for me in my career, I based my entire career truly on faith, first and foremost. And I think that's why I really have thrived in this industry. Not that, I'm special by any stretch, but the fact that I truly rely on God to give me the business that I need when I need it. He knows my future. He knows what is coming up. So if I don't need a $5 million deal, I'm not going to get it. If he knows that I need it for whatever reason, then it doesn't matter what I do. That person will reach out to me and want to, me to serve them. And that, in addition to the service part of it, again, I do not believe that that this is a sales industry, although there's a sales aspect to it. We
Hmm.
are we are servants. I mean, that's first and foremost. I'm here to serve buyers and sellers in whatever way, shape, or form that they need, whether it turns into a transaction or it's just a lease. Doesn't matter to me what it is. The paycheck is not the end goal. The end goal is to service other human beings in a Christ-like way.
And I would say that when you're a Christian, and when you believe, and when you lean on faith, because my audience knows I'm not. I say that I'm not always on Front Street all over my social media with my beliefs, but those who know me know the way I believe.
Mhm.
I just don't believe that I've got to put it in everyone's face. And yet I know that it helps me attract my my vibe attracts my tribe, right?
Yes.
Would you say that's the case with you? I mean, those
Yeah,
who appreciate you, who trust you, they know you're a man of faith, and I think that that helps you attract other like-minded believers.
absolutely. So, two different aspects, but yes, you're dead on. Um, the like-minded faith really is what drew our team together. Our team first and foremost fears God, loves Jesus, and loves humanity. And so what we are able to do, like we don't really like our team meetings, right? Our team meetings, we don't focus on business. We do a Bible study. We've been studying the book of James now for like 4 months. I mean, that's a long time to be in one kind of small book, but we do go through tangents, we do other things.
Hmm.
And so from a team aspect, yes, we are all of like mind. And I think it's important in these times especially, and not only in business, but in your personal life, find the people that you have of like mind and start gravitating towards each other. If things start getting really difficult, man, we're going to really need to be leaning on each other hard. And so we talk about that as a team a lot. But as far as like clients, yes, it does attract so much a little bit. I think more importantly, they understand the honesty and integrity that I have.
Yeah.
And again, they may not like the news,
Hmm.
right? Like I may be giving them news they don't want to hear. At
Hmm.
the end of the day, I'm just the messenger, and they know that I'm going to be 100% honest 100% of the time. And that coupled with me knowing a little bit, like I sort of know what I'm doing, uh, I think that is what clients gravitate to. And that's why they recommend me because they say, you know what, Shane is the most honest person I have ever met when it comes to this industry. And, again, he's done this over and over again. And so he for sure can help you.
Yeah, man, you can. And I'll tell you that your office meetings, or your team meetings, um, disguised as Bible studies, is not unique. I know that, I think Scott, I want to say it's Scott Maloof and his team. They have Bible studies. I'd say that it one, it definitely brings you guys closer together, and I think closer to, our maker and spiritual guidance. But and I think that's okay. And it's okay to be different because you are that, my brother. And
Yeah.
so, Carrie, as she was shaking her head, I think that again, it's also about fellowshipping, and it's about bringing us closer, together as a unit, and collaborating. So I love all that. So
Mhm.
keep doing what you're doing, because I think that you're standing, out, and apart from so many in this industry, and I love what I see you doing, and that's why I was encouraged to have you on. So, I know I want to talk business quickly.
Yes.
So in this in the crazy times that we find ourselves, Share with us because unfortunately today, because we've got business planning for most of our rookie agents,
Hmm.
and they're not here today because normally we get to speak to them because Seth has them down in the training room. What's one or two things that you're doing that you're really succeeding with? And is that just simply servicing your A and B clients, or is there something that, you know, something that's surprising you currently where business is flowing in from?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Yes, it's truly marketing to your top, 1% of your people.
Right.
Or 10% of your people. So, for example, I mean, I have 2,700 people in a database, and I have all of their contact information. I do not reach out to all 2,700 every year. There's no, like, that's not the way this works. And so if you reach out to the people that know you, like you, and trust you, and the ones that truly have referred you in the past, and you start rewarding that behavior, you don't reward the end result. Hey, I got a closing. So hey, you know what? You remember you gave me Joe. Here's a $50 gift card. I reward the behavior. As soon as we get a referral,
Mhm.
we have custom made $50 gift cards that have the YNS logo and all that kind of stuff. And hold on. And so whenever we get a referral, they immediately get that gift card. And they're like, "Well, I didn't do anything." No, you did. You built my business.
Mhm.
And I point to a guy named Tom where they were moving from Washington. They were part of a corporate move with Fisher Investments. And Tom called me one day. The deal had already closed. And he called me and said, "Hey, I don't know if you can help me or not, but my car is being delivered today from Washington to the house. Is there any way that you can meet them there and sign for the car?" And I was like, "Absolutely. I'm 10 minutes away. I'm happy to do that. No problem." And the transaction was already over. I could have just blown him off. But I went, got the car, and not only did I just get the car, I pulled the car into the garage and I programmed the garage door opener in their minivan to their new garage door. And then I wrote them a little note, put it on the dash, said, "Hey, this has already been programmed. Really loved working with you. If you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell real estate, please let me know." Tom has given me over the course of my career 30 referrals that have closed and
Wow.
probably another 50 that didn't. And again, I built my business that way,
Yeah.
just from simple acts of service and um, um, just always doing the right thing.
Yeah. Well, and again, Monique asked, where do you get those gift cards?
There's a company. I'll have Abby send it out to you, and then you can send
Oh
it
yeah,
out to a
absolutely.
chat or
Monique, I'll
whatever.
definitely get it to you.
I think it's called perfectgift.com is what I think.
Okay, because I've seen those and it's crazy. But way back in the day, um, I used to do like those calling cards, those 1-800. I don't even
Yeah.
remember what it was, but they had my brand on them, and I'd give folks those, and they'd have $20 worth of long distance service on it or something
Yeah,
crazy.
right.
We've done back in the day. So, but again, I love the branding aspect of it. Um,
And so I would say, like, for me, yes, faith is a huge part, right? But that doesn't take away from the fact that we still have to work.
yes.
Um, what is he doing? He's trying to get into my mushroom stash. This is
Okay.
terrible. Um,
Again, when you say mushroom stash, clarify that for people. Let them know what's up.
so I have a whole tea thing behind us. I'm really
Yes.
into different teas. I have a
Yeah.
whole menu, and we have mushroom powders that you can add to a tea for different things. There's lion's mane. There's all kinds of things. So, I don't know why he's digging into that.
Yeah.
But so there's still work that needs to be done, right? Um, uh, and I think the Bible is very clear that, especially men, we're called to work. We're called to work by the sweat of our brow. And 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 this is my retirement plan, right? I mean, I retired at the age of 42, just, truly just from God's blessing. And so then when I retired, I was like, this is not life. This is
Mhm.
not life. And so my wife is the one that made me get a real estate license. And then it just kind of stuck after that. And but we're required to, I mean, like we're called to work. I mean, like that's just a thing. And so I'm definitely not lazy. And you show up so that God can bless you. I mean, God can't bless you if you're not going to show up. I mean,
Amen.
that's pretty much the fact.
Amen. And what did you retire from?
So the restaurant industry, I started off at Steak and Ale when I
Mhm.
was 15 years old, and uh, throughout the course of life, I mean, I did all of that, and I worked my way up into management and all of that. I got fired from different restaurants and different things. The main one was Houston's. Houston's really did shape me. Houston's restaurants is now called Hillstone.
Yes,
Um,
it
but
was, it was a mainstay for us.
yeah, and again, that's where I met my wife.
Yes. Yeah.
She was the daytime bartender. I was the nighttime bartender. Neither one of us drink, so it was like, okay, this is really weird.
Yeah.
And both super successful, but we were ships passing in the night. And so at one point, I decided to leave the restaurant industry. We were making really good money between the two of us. Um, and I decided to leave the restaurant industry and start an IT company. So I was kind of an entrepreneur from the very beginning. I didn't like people telling me what to do. And so, I started this IT company because I was pretty good with computers. And we did okay. Like we serviced different doctors' offices, but then Obamacare hit and doctors, they had to cut costs. And we were the first thing to go. And so I ended up racking up about $170,000 of debt. Um, and my wife didn't really know that at the time. I mean, she knew that we were struggling, but she didn't know the extent of it. And there was one day we went to Market Street, loaded up our cart like we normally do, went to check out. It was $63. Tried one card. Oh, that card didn't work. Let's just try another card. Oh, that one didn't work either. Tried every single card I had. Our bank account was negative.
Mm.
So we could not buy $63 worth of groceries. I had to we tucked tail, left the groceries there, walked out to the car, and we were like, what just happened? And my wife was super gracious. She didn't blame me at all. I mean, this was a mutual thing
Mhm.
of her, not being involved and just blindly, going along. But then, and I didn't hide anything necessarily, but our lifestyle far exceeded our income, obviously.
Yes.
And so that lasted for like the company lasted for about 2 years. And that's a massive amount of debt in 2 years.
Hmm.
And so I went back to the only thing that I know is waiting tables.
Hmm.
So, at the age of 40, I'm waiting tables with a bunch of kids and very humbling. I mean, just God put me back in my place. I mean,
Absolutely. Well,
because
he
I
did.
wasn't really following, his plan for my life. And so I did. I went back to waiting tables. And at that point in time, I went through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University.
Hmm.
And so baby step number one, you get $1,000 emergency fund. I made a promise to God and I said, anytime I walk with a $100 bill, not if I walk with 520s, but a true $100 bill, if that's what I happen to get, I'm not going to trade for it. I'm not going to try to get it. Just when it happens, I'll take that $100 and I'll put it towards $1,000 emergency fund, no matter what else is going on, no matter bills, nothing. God, you give me that, you give me those $100 bills. And sure enough, he gave me 10 of them within 2 months. And I still have all 10 of those bills today. I have the date written on every single one of them. I never once had to tap into my emergency fund. Unbelievable. I mean, like, there's
That's
no
great.
way that I could have done any of that on my own.
Right.
And so that's
Amen.
where I came from. I came from the restaurant industry. And, once I, made that little step and, we were paying off our debts little by little and doing our best, eating ramen. We did not watch TV. We didn't do anything.
Hmm.
And we really cut everything out. But it was still insurmountable. I mean, it was like, there's no way this is ever gonna happen. And that's when God's blessing took over, and we were just kind of given a big chunk of money. and able to pay everything off, which again, just God's providence. Dave Ramsey says the grass underneath your feet feels different when your house is completely paid off. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing that I did. I went outside barefoot in my backyard and I was like, man, this is really something.
Yeah.
And so that was what's incredible. But what we didn't know is that God, there was something else that was going to happen in our future that God knew we didn't know. And that is my wife busted out her C6, C7 disc. We don't know how it happened. Um, and we don't know when it happened. Just all of a sudden, like she kind of looked like she lost zero all control of her neck muscles. So she looked like a bobblehead all the time. Everywhere we went, she could not control it. And went to multiple different doctors' offices. And we finally, like, she was having massive shoulder pain. So we went and saw an orthopedic surgeon. Worst and best doctor I've ever had, because he was worst because we told him what was happening. He made her lift her arms a couple of times, and then he just looked her in the eye and he said, "Okay, you don't need to see me. You need to go see you need to go get an MRI done on your neck." And then he just walked out of the room. It was like 30 seconds, and we were like, "Hold on." We chased him down the hall.
Yeah.
We're like, "Stop. We don't know what you're saying." He's like, "Go get an MRI on your neck. There's nothing wrong with your shoulder." We're like, "Okay, I don't know what that means." And
Mhm.
so we did, and that's when we saw the busted disc. She had disc replacement surgery. But that was excruciating time. And just for both of us, she was sleeping on the coffee table, that kind of thing. Had this happened 50 years ago, my wife would be dead. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just a fact.
Right.
And when she was in surgery, I paced up and down for she was 6 hours in surgery, cervical spine surgery. And I thought it was over. And I had cried harder than I ever had, just didn't understand why this woman that I knew God gave me. I mean, this was this on my yeah, so that she was going to be gone. Like I relented to the fact that I would have to live my life without her. And obviously she recovered, but that bill was a $400,000 bill, and we did not have insurance.
Oh, oh wow. Okay. Oh, dang.
It was not covered by insurance.
Okay.
And so, the surgery itself was, like 100 grand. The disc itself was, it just these massive bills. And insurance didn't cover it. Like we did have insurance actually, but insurance did not cover it because they called it elective surgery. And I'm like, how is this elective? Like, what's going on here?
Right. Wow.
And so anyway, like that. uh, but again, this is still my retirement plan. I mean, like we were able to withstand all of that, and God still had us. He was like, this is fine. This is fine. And so when I got my real estate license, it was just sort of an experiment. Sarah was like, you know what? We were building a house at the time, and she said, "Look, you'll sell our house." And it was a house with a mother-in-law suite. So we'd have my house to sell, my mom's house to sell. That would pay for the real estate license. And then if you like it, then you keep doing it. And so my very first client, actually, it was somebody that just came to a garage sale that I was having. And she saw my sign in the yard. And but I also saw her cleaning van in the street. And I was like, "Hey, is that your cleaning company?" And she barely spoke any English. And she said, "Yes, I clean houses." I said, "Okay, great. I'm selling this house. I need my house cleaned after this garage sale. Will you do it?" She said, "Yes." She said, "Will you help me buy a house for my daughter?" I'm like, "Yes." Okay. And so it was a $55,000 trailer home. It's the only deal that I had that year. So I made $6,000 in my first year of real estate.
Mm.
And last year I think Carrie and I kind of figured it out. Our team, our GCI was close to $500,000 for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
again, God has been just faithful through all of that.
Amen. So the $400,000 debt, how did you start chipping away on that? Was that through real estate or that was through an inheritance? How did again
Yeah,
that
so
that's
so
that
the original debt was 170,000.
mm-hmm.
And I'm waiting tables we're doing our best, but Dave Ramsey's model is you pay off your smallest card first,
Yes.
and then you just keep this is the snowball, right? So we
Yes.
paid off the first card because it was only like $50, no problem. But then the next card was like 250, and that's hard. Like we didn't have it, and but there were some cards, that were 10, $20,000. And
Hmm.
then I had student loans, which was a waste because I went to school for 9 years, never graduated. I mean, like where did all that money go? That was like 40 grand or something like that. And so it was my grandfather. My grandfather, um, he did not like me. He did not agree with my life choices. When I was in college, again, I was going to school for music. I was a music
I
performance
was just
major.
about to ask that because I think it's important that folks know that because I
Yeah.
didn't know until I got to know you about the music. So there you
Yeah, so
go.
I was a trombone
There.
major at start
Yes.
and realized I couldn't woo women playing trombone, so I decided to teach myself how to play guitar.
There you go.
And when I taught myself how to play guitar, my roommate at the time was like, "Hey, let's write a song." So we wrote a song and then we started a band. We played for a while, did okay. Like this was in the days of cassettes, so we ended up selling about 250 cassettes, up in Denton, and we would play around here, opening up for bigger bands, things like that. And then the band broke up. Strangely enough, the band broke up because everybody in the band wanted us to be a Christian band. And I said no. I was not a Christian at the time. I was a complete heathen. And I was like, absolutely not. We're a rock band and we're not doing that. And so the band broke up because of that. Fascinating enough.
That's
And
fascinating.
then it was at that time that another guy, that's when, he was saying, "Hey, everybody in this house," because they all had Bible study and I thought they were crazy. And they said, "Hey, everybody in this house, they're praying for you because you're going to hell." That's what Joe Coelho told me. And I'm like, okay. And so I got mad at him when he told me I was going to hell. I threw the table, I picked it up and threw it and stormed out of the room. And it was his words that echoed in my head. I was at a concert called Rockfest on June 21st, 1997. It was at Texas Motor Speedway. It was a 3-day event festival, right? 400,000 people at this concert, and I was there, and God saved me out of all of that. He saved me, basically out of the drug culture, out of the music culture. And it was Joe Coelho's words that were echoing in my head when I walked around. Hey, you're going to hell, you're going to hell. And so I immediately, like, we were there for like 3 hours, and I just immediately left. Um, and so that's how I got saved. But the uh, the debt, my grandfather did not care for my life. He
Yeah.
just he didn't care for it. So he actually wrote me out of the will.
Okay.
He only has one daughter, that's my mom, and I only have one brother. And so he changed his will so my brother and my mom got to split everything. And I was out. And that's what he did historically throughout his life. He wrote people out of the family and he used money to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know how much money he had, but when he died, it was a mountain of money. It was unbelievable. And what's really interesting is that I was the last person to see my grandfather alive. That night when we were sitting there, he was seeing things, I'm a big believer in the spiritual realm. I think he was seeing things that it was the first time I ever saw that man look terrified. He couldn't speak, but he shrieked back in terror several times. And I was like, okay, how do I share the gospel with this guy? And because I was not I had never proven myself to be different. I mean, he saw me as a reprobate, right? As a musician that basically kind of stole a bunch of money from him while I was in college. And so when I was talking to him, I wanted to get him to forgive me. I just wanted him, he could barely speak, but I said, "Papa, do you forgive me?" And he said, "Yes, I forgive you." And I was like, "Okay, there's my open door." And so then I said, "Hey, great. You know what? I'm going to come back tomorrow and we're going to talk some more." And then he died 3 hours later. So but he was sitting on a mountain of money. And He wanted to change his will. My brother said that he wanted to change his will, and he never got to. It was too late.
Hmm.
Um, and so it was at that point in time that my mom gave me half of her half.
Mm,
And that's what allowed me to pay off the $170,000 debt. That's what allowed us to have enough money for her surgery. That's what allowed us
mm.
to have enough money for me to start a real estate career.
Yes.
Starting a real estate career,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and that's what I try. Like when I was teaching kids,
Hmm.
and I knew we would come back to real estate eventually. So, when I was teaching kids, rookies that were coming into my previous broker, I was the assistant manager, and that was my responsibility was educating. And I wanted them to say, look, to go, look, you've got to focus on money making activities right now. You've only got a couple of months before you need your first paycheck. Forget
Sure.
about systems, forget about setting up your website, forget about social media. Forget about it. Go call people until you get your first paycheck. Then you can start doing those other things.
Right.
Because it's so hard to sustain yourself.
Indeed.
And if I didn't have that little nest egg and the support of my wife,
Yeah.
I would not be talking to you today.
Amen.
I would not be talking to you today. I mean, that's the bottom line.
I appreciate it. I'm going to inject something here that um, hopefully you don't take this the wrong way. Yeah, because
No,
I
I'm
think
good.
out of the few folks who've joined us today, Monique and I are the only ones who look like us. I will tell you, and I know how appreciative you are of legacy because your grandfather
Hmm.
had an opportunity to impact your life and the life of your kids.
Yes,
And when we talk of privilege, and especially white privilege, right? I don't want to get deep into it, but that's an opportunity that my grandfather didn't have,
correct.
and my family didn't have. And so when people want to bring up crap like that, and I'm like, you can only go back, you only need to go back one generation to see the difference, right?
Yes.
And again, I'm so glad that you're respectful of it. You're a great steward of what has been provided to you because many have not,
Yeah.
right? Many have not. So that's all I'm saying about that. And I'm so glad that you are here and that money was had an opportunity to serve you and really propel you into your future because I know that you're taking good care of everything that the good Lord has provided for you. You're not wasteful, you're not boastful, and I love who you are
Yeah.
because like I told you, our 35 minutes is just moves just like that.
Yeah.
And this has given me an even deeper respect and appreciation for who you are. And I appreciate you sharing because I can tell you one thing that has resonated with me, and I think you should title your book should be titled, $63.
Yeah.
All you got to say is $63 because people are going to be like, what the hell is $63? And I think that was a turning point, you know, for your life in your career, also with a buddy who probably loved you, right? That was a defining moment when he said,
Hmm.
we're praying for you because you're going to hell,
Yeah.
right? So we've got these defining moments, and I think triggers that just propel us and move us. And I'm so glad that you've done nothing but move and move forward and move up. So I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you. And you're not the first person to tell me that I should write a book.
Yes.
I have thought about it. That is a fantastic title.
Yes.
I will steal it. I
Yes.
will give you credit for that title.
Words.
And I'll let you write the preface. How about that?
Money, 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 money.